Hello everybody. Today I am in the woods up a hill and kind of spontaneous. I really didn't expect to go up here or even hike this much today. But I thought since I'm here I should try to get to a good point of view, and this is really the best I could do before I decided to turn around and go back. So instead of taping myself coming up, I will share a little bit of the trip going back to the car. Haha. Reason being, it's very embarrassing to share how out of shape I really am. So this is a trail I came in on, and there's a lot of trees in the way, but you can kind of see the valley, and you might see a little bit of Foy's Lake down the hill here. So I thought I'd share this point of view as I'm walking along. Yep, this is the best point of view I'm going to get today on this side of this hill. So I'm at Heron Park, and you could spend a lot of time up here. There's a lot of trail. You can walk, ride a bike, or bring your horse. Yeah. I've been working a lot. I've been working 7 days a week until recently. Now we finally cut me down to just 6 days a week. And then those days are going to get shorter as we're moving into the slow season. So that gives me more time to fool around as I am today. I would normally be at my restaurant job doing some prep work, like making meatloaf and salad dressings. And sometimes I go in and put in like good 4 hours or so, and then come back and then work another shift making salads and plating the desserts. Yeah, so this is Notch Trail, and it's nice. You can't get lost. See, I didn't take a map. I'm like, I already have a map at home, but I thought I'll just go up Notch Trail today. Maybe I won't get lost. I thought at best this will help get me up on the ridge so I could look over at the lake, because it's really pretty if you could see it. So you can get up a little higher on this hill and see much more without as many trees blocking. Every once in a while we come into some really good gaps, you know. So I thought this trail was very interesting coming up it today, and I thought, if anything, the trail itself is pretty interesting, but while I'm on this trail, maybe I'll just share a little bit about what's been going on and what's been keeping me busy. So I'd say a few years ago, my buddy Rosey and her boyfriend died of cancer, and I started a video series explaining a lot of the stuff that brought me to Montana. And more than anything, having my friend Rosey up here, because if it wasn't for her, I would have never thought to come up here. And at that point, I was really kind of bummed out. I just felt like, what am I going to do? You know, I mean, see that? That's the old swim hole, one of the places I go swimming most. So to me, it's kind of fun looking down there. See that little island? If you could see that little island. Yeah, see, I knew I got a few nice flashes of that lake. I was really bummed out when Rosey died, because I just felt like, you know, what am I going to do? My whole point of coming up here was to spend time with her, and she died on me. And so I've been really spending a lot of time alone. Now, normally with Rosey around, I got someone to yak to, so I probably spend a lot of time yakking and not being quiet. And I feel like with her gone, I've had to sit alone and be quiet for the last 3 years. And at the same time, I've been just sort of, it's almost like I'm coming back, you know, making a comeback, you know. So I was a shuttle driver for a while, picking people up at the airport, taking them to their hotels, and just kind of acting like a taxi service in between for one company. I worked there off and on for a couple of years. I tried a couple other cab companies, and it didn't really work out as much. So anyways, that was going on up until Rosey and Gary died, and then it's like I just quit working and I just focused on doing something with our stuff and getting ready in case they kick me out. And then I tried working for UPS a little bit, so I got on with them for the Christmas season of 22 into 23, at least through November and December that year. And that was kind of fun. So I was a delivery driver for UPS out of my own truck. So my truck got hit, and then I got to be a driver's helper. So I thought, well, I'll go back to UPS and try working inside, you know, and see if I can grow on it and see if something comes out of staying on with UPS. Well, that didn't really work out, because what they do is they take new people and they cut you. If it's not busy, they cut you. So I mean, I was expecting to go in 5 days a week and work about 3 hours or so, which I thought would be perfect at the time. I don't know, 3 to 5 hours. I thought that'd be great, you know. I only need about 15-20 hours right now, and I barely get any hours. It was like 10 hours, 7 hours, and then like 2 hours, barely getting me on. And so what I did was I had to find other work, and I went up and ended up working for Willow's Huckland for the remainder of that summer. And boy, was I in bad shape, because I quit exercising and I had been driving shuttle. Yeah, I'll show you where I am. This is an interesting point of view. That's the Blacktail Mountain. Here's where we're coming from. If you go up that way, that's Foy's Lookout. That's where we're being. There's just this little hump we're working around. So, yeah, really awesome point of view. We're looking east anytime you're looking at those pointy Rocky Mountains. Look at that, they've been snowed on already, and that's what makes them so pretty. And I was gonna say, funny thing about something like that, it sure looks pretty, but I'll tell you what, if they dropped me off and left me up there, it wouldn't be pretty. It'd be freezing my butt off. So funny how that works. Yeah, so anyways, I really lost a lot of strength doing that stupid taxi driving and not exercising, and I just really let everything go because I was just so bummed out. And then I went to work for Jim, and let me see, what I did was that following fall is I got on with the ice cream shop. I worked through the winter and into the spring, and it was kind of fun, you know, because I got to have the place to myself. And then when the kids come in, I usually clock out and go home, but then it was getting to where I had to work with the other employees more, and they're all just high school kids and college kids, and I could already tell the owner had a bias when she hired me. Like the way she put it, it's like, okay, we'll give this a try, and if it don't work out, we'll just go our separate ways. And the reason I didn't like that is because I went to a job interview before that. It was a job that probably wasn't gonna bring in enough money anyways, but the woman there said the same thing, and then she hired someone else. So I felt like she didn't really want to hire me, but if they can't find anyone else, I can give it a try. And she probably thinks it's not going to work out, so she had to make that point to be ready to be dismissed if that's the case, you know. Not a very warm welcome. And then I went over to Papa John's to get some extra hours, and we had fun over there. So there's a young guy working at Papa John's. Well, he's young compared to me. Now he's in his 30s. He's got kids and stuff. But he's a young spirit, you know. They're in there, you know, they listen to loud music. They, you know, he's kind of got like a punk haircut and tattoos. And he's probably seen it all, you know. Somebody that can fight. Somebody that probably kicked my ass. And I got along with him great, man. Never had a problem with that guy. You know, so if anything, you just hate the job because the job has good points and bad points. Otherwise, I thought it was great working for Papa John's, but they laid us off later on. And then my truck wasn't working right, so I was having some problems with my truck. And I haven't shown a selfie in a while. Yeah, here I am coming down that trail. You know, and it turned out to be such a nice day. This is exactly why I love this season, because you get days like this. At any rate, yeah, it was really getting frustrating because, I mean, part of the reason I took the job at the ice cream shop is I just wanted to make sure if the truck breaks down, I could still make it to work. And that's where we've been. And so, I don't know, I was just really losing my patience with that lady, and one thing led to the other, and I ended up working for Jim that next summer. So, kind of losing track. I think 2024 is where I, you know, went back to Jim. So I had to drive all the way to Huckland up in, you know, it's like a 40-minute drive up to Hungry Horse. So, and the reason for that is because I really like working up there. I think it's a fun job, you know, when it comes to the customer service itself and the whole idea and everything. But other than that, I really wouldn't drive that far normally, except so the owner had taken me in some time ago back in 2013 when no one else would hire me up there. And so I was very grateful to him for giving me that job. So I'm sharing where I've been. And I thought, well, you know, since it's kind of easy for me to get in with Jim and he really needs the help, I'm just going to go up there and work till I figure something out. And so as it was getting to the end of their season, I started looking for other work. And I just really didn't like the attitude the guy was giving me. I could just tell he had a disdain for me and was always doing little things to kind of rub it in, you know, just kind of, and it might just be his personality. He just comes in really confrontational, like, hey, what are you doing? You can't do that. And you got to go on the defense and everything. And, you know, just a really petty guy. But, you know, he asked me not to work anyplace else so that I could stay on and help him through the winter. But then he was trying to keep me off the schedule as much as possible to save money. And not to mention, so there's a whole lot of stories I could share about that, about how that really sucked and why I just really wanted to quit there so bad. And I talked to somebody and she was telling me she works for Walmart Spark Delivery, and she was making a lot of extra money. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to quit this job and drive for Spark Delivery until I can get onto another job. Well, hello there. Right on. It's beautiful out today. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, a very beautiful dog coming by. I hope I'm going the right way. Yeah, see here, I'm going to double check my work. Notch Trail. We want to take Notch Trail, I'm going to get lost. Yeah. I had been in touch with the owner of this restaurant. Now, I had gone down there, I'd say fall of last year, probably September, just over a year ago. And I seen the ad in the paper, so I thought, you know, I should get down there and maybe order something and see if I like the place. And so I went in and ate a cheeseburger. And it's kind of a nice steakhouse, you know. I mean, it's really out of my budget. Like, I can't really afford to eat at places like that normally. That's where we've been. Now, if we go that way, that'll take you to another lookout point further up. But that's a long hike, boy. Maybe one day I'll go down there, but not today. Actually, I think I went a little further than I thought I could handle. You know, I was walking up here thinking, boy, I might regret this. This is kind of it's not too steep, but it's good enough to make you breathe hard. It's good enough, at least in my case, I can feel the burn, you know. So I think if anything, the reward will be the hike down. It'll be nice and easy. And this way I can talk to you guys because I'm not going to be winded. So you can see, I feel like I'm in the woods, but we're really close to the road. You can still hear people whizzing by. Almost like we're deep in the jungle, but not quite. We're still close to the city, the infrastructure. And so anyways, it was just the opposite. So anyways, I go in, get that cheeseburger, and the owner's wife was running the bar, and it seemed like me and her had a good laugh together. And I let her know I was thinking about working there, and I seen her husband come out to talk to one of the customers. And so that was like the first time I seen both of those two and thought, you know, these guys seem pretty down to earth, you know, because one thing, I don't want to go and work in a nice place if the owners are too hoity-toity, you know, because I've run into that a time or two. I feel like if they're too uppity, you know, I'm not going to get along, you know, pretentious and all that. And these guys are not pretentious. So anyways, I came in for the interview. Here's where we're coming from. And you see it's changing very much. So we're now coming to the inside of the ridge. It's like we were to the outside of the ridge, now we're going to the inside of the ridge. And anyways, during that interview, we sat and talked a bit and, you know, shared my information and what I'm trying to get. And so anyways, he goes, you know, I like you and I want to give you a job. I'm just like, I'll just do some back of house, like let me be the dishwasher or something, you know, just want to do back of house because I don't think I didn't say this, I didn't say I don't qualify for front house, but figured it looked like a good price, a good pay rate, and all that stuff. And thought, you know, because I really want to point out the difference between the lady with the ice cream shop and this store owner is that hey, I like you and I gotta let you see me. So yeah, when I got hired in September last year, the guy said, I like you and I want to give you a job. At any rate, he said they got enough people washing dishes that he'd like to give me a prep cook position. And I said, well, you know, I only know so much. I mean, I've only had a lot of basic work like that. And he said, don't worry, it's easy. I will teach it to you. So, you know, so by coming to that job in the long run, yeah, it's a lot. He's right. It was easy, and it's very enriching, you know, realizing, you know, it's not as hard as you think to make food, make good stuff to eat. So, you know, because I've never really got a chance to learn to cook growing up. Yeah, so this is kind of, I just turned 50 this year, and I'm like just now learning how to really cook beyond, you know, cheeseburgers and hot dogs, right? That's pretty bad. So I haven't really had a need to cook, and, you know, I've been living alone quite a bit. So, yeah, that's part of my excuse. Just, you know, it's probably a lot easier to just eat out and find small things along the way. So, anyway, I used Spark Delivery to tide me over to when he could give me hours. So he got me in as soon as he could. He even put me to work before he even needed me, just to let me get settled in and let me get a paycheck coming, you know. So very generous and thoughtful. Just the opposite of, you know, what I was getting with that lady. And then on the other hand, you know, having worked through the summer at Willow's Hookland, this guy's always coming in confrontational, like, hey, what are you doing, blah, blah, blah. And just trying to be, you know. So there's been a number of jobs where I've had to deal with supervisors that just really want to command obedience. You know, like they can't just be happy that I come to work and try to do a nice job. But they really get frustrated because they can't dominate me. And that's the type of stuff I'm running into with this guy. Just really condescending and dominating personality and all this type of thing. Well, now that I'm at this restaurant job, you know, I've had a chat with my boss, and this guy's actually a really tough guy. He's had a lot of training in the Asian martial arts, right? Hi there. Pardon. At any rate, show you where I am again. Now, as I'm coming down, I can kind of see the road we came in on. Yeah, the horses' stable's way out there. Yeah, and so when I see people coming by, I try to, I don't know, try to tuck my phone in. I don't want them to think they're going to be the star of my show or anything. This is my show, not your show. Yep. I might just make this tape until my battery dies, so I don't know if we'll get back to the trailhead. I might be below 15% at this point. And anyways, it's just been kind of a fortunate year as far as, you know, moving into this other job. And I used Spark Delivery to tide me over. It almost brought in the same amount that the restaurant job was bringing in, and so I had a good amount of money to live on until springtime, and it really started dying down. And that's when, see, I had also applied at a pizza shop. There's this really good pizza shop up in Whitefish, and I was going in there to eat occasionally when I was a shuttle driver. And so I thought, hey, I'll go up there and apply. And they said, well, when you see us move down to our new location, you might want to apply then. So that's exactly what I did, and of course they didn't need me. But here's the beautiful thing. The owner called me up. Actually, it's a married couple, so the wife in that relationship, she called me up and we talked, and she said, you know, I have other candidates, but I'm just going to hire you, because she knew the second she met me, she wanted to hire me. And after I told her, you know, how it goes being a delivery driver, like the number one thing that delivery drivers suck at is reading the goddamn ticket and running out the door without the sodas and the sauces. So yeah, so that made a very busy summer. I ended up working 7 days a week, mostly because the restaurant schedule keeps changing. You know, like we had it set to where I could have like 1 or 2 days off, and then they keep flip-flopping and doing things different. So I just tried to roll with the blows and take all the hours I could get. And as a result, I was able to qualify to buy this truck. So anyways, I just really wanted to share a little bit about what I've been up to and why I haven't been making so many videos. Because I really want to go back to the videos, sharing my life and my pictures and some of the stories. So I got up to the point in my stories about when I moved from Denver to Big Fork to join Rosey, and so that's where I'm going to go back to in those stories and how it went from then on. So living with Rosey really prepared me for what I'm getting into. So We go that way, Plum Creek, that'll take you all the way over to the other point, the lookout point. Now that's where we're coming from. So anyways, Rosie's a big fan of the Chevy Suburban. And I'm telling her, you know, I really need to get myself a little car and save gas. And she goes, no, you don't. You need to get a truck like mine. She's the one that taught me to appreciate that type of truck. And so I bought my own eventually. And so that's where, you know, I've had a lot of experience in that truck. I've had a lot of mishaps and things to learn from, you know. I've had to take it to the mechanic repeatedly and stuff like that. Been in a couple accidents. Okay, so now that I've got this new truck, I'm just thinking, wow, you know, if you think about it, Rosey really got me ready, you know. So I've been doing everything I can to work someplace that I can physically work. Because I've got some small injuries in my feet and legs. That's why, you know, for me to walk up this trail is really pushing it. But, you know, I really also want to try to get my strength back. So I thought, since I have time, I thought this would really help stimulate my muscles a little bit and help get back on the right track. But this is my preferred way to get exercise right here. And I'm just praying that when I go to work tonight, I'm not going to be exhausted. So tonight, so what's happened at the restaurant is they had a young man washing dishes 2 days a week to relieve the regular dishwasher. It was 5 days a week. So I said, you know, when that guy resigns, I'd like that dish position so that way, you know, I get some guaranteed hours, because all I've been getting are volume shifts. And sometimes that's a lot, you know. So if I come in at 10 o'clock and have a lot to do, sometimes I'll be there till 4 o'clock, and then I got to jump in my truck and then go on to the next job. And the only break I have is the truck ride to the other job. So those are like a 12-hour day. So when I do those days, but now those are getting a little shorter, so I get like maybe 2 or 3 hours between shifts. Now, yeah, so it's been taking up all my time, and now that we're cutting back hours, I'm going to use all my time to really just try to reorganize and get ready for winter. So like doing stuff like getting my yard cleaned up, getting my vehicles in order. My other truck was needing a new engine, and so I got the money for that. I got the engine on the way, and so the older truck's going to get a new engine, not a new engine, but a good used engine, and it's going to get a new start. And that's because that's my delivery vehicle, so I can do spark delivery. And I think we're getting an Amazon Flex Center up here. I might be able to do that as well. So that truck's going to bring in money, and the new truck could end up being used more as a chauffeur service. So I don't really want to goof that up. So I've been trying to treat that truck like I don't even own it. Like it's the boss's truck, and that's been working because I haven't left any of my personal stuff in it. Right? So so anyways, that's my big plan is I'm getting these vehicles on the road, and hopefully I'll be able to make a little extra money. So I've got a little experience filing my taxes and being a self-employed, and now I might expand on that a little bit this year, and then maybe into next year I'll consider creating an actual business, you know, an LLC. So I'm just taking baby steps in that direction, because I think the more self-employed I am, you know, so I just kind of like to be able to run my own program, because in previous experience it really sucks having somebody else running a program and making bad decisions for you that cost you in the long run. And so if I can run my own program, I think I'll do really well as a chauffeur and helping people, because some of the other places I work, they really overbooked us and done really bad things. They tried to, that little taxi company I worked for, they tried to book a double with a bunch of people that couldn't fit their stuff in, and then I had to leave one and take one. One party had to wait at the airport, at the hotel. So I said, I can't fit you guys. And then I had to listen to the guy screaming at me on the phone while I'm driving one party to the airport. So just a lot of bad supervisors I've had to deal with. And that's where I'm also fortunate too. So both the jobs I'm working now have great management. The owner at the restaurant, he's got self-confidence. He doesn't need to test me, and he doesn't try to make me obedient. He shows me what I need to do, and he lets me go to work, and he surprisingly leaves me quite unsupervised. To the extent that I've had to figure out a lot of things the hard way, so to speak. So, and he teaches me stuff, and I get bumped up a little bit here and there by other people with new knowledge, but This boss just gives you more empowerment. Like, you know, he gives me a job and he lets me do it. And same with my my pizza delivery job. They give me a job and they let me do it. Nobody's hounding me and telling me to hurry the fuck up. I'm just very successful at what I do in either case. And so it's been really good for my mental health, because prior to this I was just so depressed. I'm just like, man, I just hope, you know, something changes, because I don't know how I'm going to live my life so depressingly. You know, something like this is really good for that as well. So my mental health has improved quite a bit, thanks to finding the right job and being able to save enough money to do something with, because this is what my plan was for the last, I don't know, 3 years or so. I've been thinking about becoming a chauffeur since I was a taxi driver back in 2000. So it's really something I planted a seed of thought back 25 years ago. But then I started seriously thinking about getting the right vehicle maybe about 3 years ago. And that's where I was telling in a previous story. Oh yeah. All right, well, I think